One of the most interesting patterns of food gardening that we came across in our handprint care work was the gathering of imifino. And how can gathering imifino be included in a heritage food garden was the question that we explored. And the starting points for the imifino, the growing of greens, was fascinating because it was part of the sort of ethical practice and daily routines of harvesting seasonal greens. And it was the foundation of homegrown greens and modern vegetables that are grown in gardens today. So you find the harvesting of the wild and the inclusion of the wild greens in a garden as part of an ethical practice. So when we look into the garden, we're seeing that we're using imifino in dry mulch beds, in compost beds, in deep trench, and it can be used in combination with the imifino, the vegetables that you would normally find in a garden today. So if we look at the greens imifino and we're looking at a curriculum setting around how were things in the past, well, the gogo used to go out in the early morning to collect imifino for a lunchtime snack at the office. Gladys did this for us, and we would love it when she did this once a week or every now and again. She went in the early morning so that her neighbors would not see her collecting around the cattle kraals, as her mother had taught her when she was a young girl. She liked wild greens in preference to greens that she could buy in the supermarkets or near the taxi rank. It was hard to find imifino these days, as many people treated wild greens as food for poor and people who could not afford to buy cabbage. So it was interesting to see this whole turnaround from it being a desirable practice for it being a practice of the poor. And around green leafy vegetables and anemia or iron deficiency is a major problem. And this is the kind of cabbages that one gets, and they're not as high in iron as the imifino that used to be harvested, nor are they grown in or cooked in iron pots, so that the iron available for metabolizing is better. And you start getting this contrast between it'll be embarrassing to go and collect wild greens because it's indicating that you haven't got the money to go and buy the necessary greens in a supermarket. And of course, growing them has fallen away in many areas, but it is the focus of so much of the work that we've been doing. So here you have a deep-seated ethic that is being lost, of the gogo teaching the young girls to go and collect vegetables, and people like Bob Asafo and his students, they would bring cattle dung onto the plants, and then the weeds would grow up, but some of the weeds were imifino, so they would keep those. And they would have wild greens growing alongside the vegetable greens that they had planted. And there's a tremendous amount to be learned on this. And one of the best ways to do it is to go and speak to the gogos who are still doing this type of practice and learn from them. And of course, that enables us to touch the past with our memories so that we can feel the future, a future of healthy, overcoming anemia because there's more iron in the diet. And this can fly on the wings of our imagination, and we can imagine bringing back healthy vegetables growing in home gardens in all of our households.